Misfits and Playing Ducks. This is going to be a series because Playing Ducks is definitely the underdog. That's for sure.
The rabbit versus the duck. It's funny because actually now that I look at it, there's so many animals in our European logos that we can just call them the rabbits and the ducks.
Yeah,
that's actually a very common thing in America, right? Like, like named after like animals and other
bears
things.
and lions.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Later on, North America, Tempo Storm, B-Step will be facing off. Finished off with Neventic going against No Tomorrow. That will be this evening. No, not tomorrow. So, again, great series overall for our teams. Just, again, Playing Ducks. They came out yesterday, and Sport Billy in particular was very explosive.
Definitely someone that we had to highlight, and indeed we did, which was nice to see. He is the Medivh boss steal for me was the crowning glory of a good series there for Sport Billy, as he was able to do so well on the Falstad. 1 or 2 mishaps with gusts, but most of them were on point, and most of them had very strong implications for the rest of the game. So we're looking to him to try and do some more here against a big favorite.
Well, we'll see how the matchup occurs here. Let's look to our players to speak towards the actual matchup itself.
The German team, besides Misfits, we are 4 Germans, they are 4 Germans, which makes us kind of, it might be a bit of a rivalry because we have a lot of German players in both teams, and Chris, obviously, with his background from Team Liquid, is a really strong player, and the other players actually in their team improved a lot, I think. We have Chris Plosion, who is shot calling for them, who's their tank player, and him stepping up as this shot caller for the team will be a huge, will play a huge part in their success or maybe not success, and we will see how he does.
Yeah, Misfits is pretty hard to play against. Their drafting is insanely good. Also their team synergies, and they've been playing together for 1 year now. So it's like probably the hardest matchup in the entire league. Yeah, I don't think they have like too many weaknesses right now. I'm gonna try our best, just play, hope we have a good day, and yeah, need good draft against them.
I think we are the favorites if we play against them. Actually, I'm pretty sure we are the favorites, but one of my former teammates, Chris, is playing in their team, and I know what he's capable of. He's a great range assassin player, and it's also a full German team, so they're speaking in the mother language, which is always a bonus, I think. But yeah, I'm not scared at all.
What to say, I mean, they have a lot of experience in the scene, they have individually strong players and a lot of experience, so if we play against them, we are the underdog, and we might just pull out some G strategies to try and overcome that.
Really, with their decisions, the Playing Ducks just being absolutely humble, understanding where they're coming from, where they're at in this matchup. Obviously, we all know here at home, and they know as well, that this matchup heavily favors the Misfits. They've been together for so long. But it's good to walk into a series like that, having that nice level-headed approach.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Many Germans on the field, as stated there by Hasselobs and many of the members there. You're the adopted German now, or what people wanted to do over on Twitter.
That's
and
right.
I live in Germany, so it's a true German match
and eventually we can all speak the mother language after he teaches me a few of the words.
I know nothing. We're going to have to rely on Kaldor for that when he comes along.
Kaldor, please. All right, so next let's go ahead and start talking about Battlegrounds. Where are we going for this series? So, bans. I'm going to assume Warhead Junction. Is it taken out here? Brax's holdout is the first ban, Infernal Shrine. So the first time here in HGC, we could see some nukes going off. Tomb of the Spider Queen would be our first battleground of the day.
Now, you say that, but unless I feel Playing Ducks wants to do something a bit cheesier, I doubt we'll even see it anyway.
Yeah.
I think you're probably in the same vein, you know, doubting we'll see it, but hoping, quietly hoping.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That is a map that if you have some strategies that you want to run, you can make it work. Global comps can be insane. You can get those nukes going, and then maybe you go for a rush on the keep, and then go from there. So we'll see how it goes.
This map was Misfits' choice, correct? Tomb of the Spider Queen?
I believe it was.
I think it was. Not surprised at all. They defeated Dignitas on that map. They went to it against Fnatic, did not win there, but Fnatic is, for me, god tier on this map. So Misfits, of course, very strong still anyway. Going into this draft, wouldn't be surprised. Where's our Tassadar ban on the side of Misfits and Ragnaros on the side of Playing Ducks, no doubt.
Yep, you got to go for that Ragnaros ban. Misfits is probably the team that opened up the HGC, showing how strong that hero can be. They had 3 players play Ragnaros. That's how versatile they are with that hero. They can change up the roster if they need to. Malfurion, the immediate first pick here for the Playing Ducks. We saw that multiple times. They seem to value Malfurion, Dahaka, Zarya. What? The second pick, Chromie?
That is so early.
That is early. Chromie does well against Malfurion, but
all right.
wow.
This is massive respect towards what we have seen from Fnatic on this map. It was very clear at the end of week number 1 that everyone said to themselves, well, I mean, we heard it from Misfits. Now we can go back. Now we can talk with the other teams. Now we can see what is good, you know, with the big 3. And the fact that Chromie has come out here, and there was even an interview with Shrimpy afterwards saying how good it was at controlling this map, how safe it felt. This is really cool to see so high up on the Tomb of the Spider Queen priority.
Yeah, it's incredibly high because now you have counters that pop up. Zeratul, ETC, Falstad, these heroes that could be picked up for the Playing Ducks are available for the second and third slot.
Will the win rate continue,
That 100% win rate.
Will the 2-0 win rate continue?
It's funny, we were talking to Dread the other day. I'm like, why don't you play Chromie? And he's like, why would I play that hero? That hero's horrible. I'm like, 100% win rate to you.
Yeah.
100% win rate, man.
Yeah. I think it might continue. With Misfits at the helm here, I think it might continue.
Johanna and Vala. Johanna, a natural counter to Chromie if you go against the Temporal Loop, just because you can use that Iron Skin, but she does get poked relatively easy. She doesn't have much movement, so Chromie can set up skill shots to try and break her down, but it is a tank that will take a while to burn down. Now, I want to know what Misfits builds around this hero. I like Burst to accompany Chromie. One, you get the engagement. You can drop down the Temporal Loop into the Deep Breath, into the Compounding Aether, and then you follow up into maybe a Greymane dive. You bring out that aggression, Illidan chase potential. Lots of fun things that could occur here for the Misfits. Now, they are highlighting a ban on Zarya. Zarya is such a pain to deal with as a Chromie main.
Yeah, and also, you know, couples with Vala very well. We've seen it before. You know, we've called that Zarya ban before yesterday, I believe it was, when the Vala was on the board, and obviously Tassadar is removed. Any shields to enable her is good, which is why I wouldn't mind seeing Sport Billy on Medivh later down the line. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what they did yesterday. This exact bans actually happened. Tassadar, Zarya, and the third pickup was their Medivh being available to help pseudo-support that Vala, but also gives him the control that he would like.
Yeah, especially against Chromie. If you can negate some of that damage with Force of Will, then oh boy, are we in for a treat? So I would love a Chromie versus Medivh war here. That would be beautiful.
That it will be. Chromie has the early game advantage, but as you get to the late game, the Force of Will being reabsorption can be something that you just hold on to that for. When she goes for her combo, you get that sick heal going down on your team. She starts to become more Q-based than actual blowing up people potential. So yeah, it's a good pick, but it is one that you have to be careful with, because now you have Malfurion, Vala, and Medivh, who are low HP heroes that if one of them do get chunked, they are chunked in the early game.
I was expecting Diablo actually to come out from that ban, but ETC still is not too bad at all. So Diablo and something maybe on the side. Blumby likes his Diablo, but he spent a lot of time dead in the first week, but he was against strong opponents, and obviously he was kind of usually a solo warrior, so I can kind of understand why he was dead a lot, but I mean,
yeah, it's kind of weird because this team actually has one of the lowest death timers in the entire game overall. And last week they were alive the most overall, except for Blumby, who had one of the highest individual death times.
I think it was like 8.9% of the game.
It was pretty ridiculous, but he is their tank player.
You're expecting to die.
You're expecting to die. Sylvanas and Muradin here. So this gives them wave clear. and also gives them engage. It gives them a Stormbolt to hit up so Chromie can follow up on early damage. It's kind of interesting. I feel like Sylvanas and Muradin are the best worlds of Zul. You get the engage with the Bone Prison into the clear that Sylvanas now has, and Muradin is bringing the Stormbolt. So more rounded out for this composition.
I'm in this weird air where I would love Muradin and Leoric. If Leoric ever actually got an Entomb off onto Chromie at the back, then you say basically bye-bye Chromie. And I know I don't mean the level 13 talents. I don't think that's going to come out. I think reaching through time will be the way, despite how much we refute one another on that point.
One day the world will see. They will see how strong a Chromie with bye-bye can be. So 4th and 5th pick here. We have wave clear already for Playing Ducks, which is something you want to do. If you're facing against a Chromie, pushing the map into her face is probably one of the best things that you can do. I wouldn't mind seeing more. They already have the Vala here. I actually wouldn't mind seeing the Leoric pick up for the Playing Ducks that you were mentioning for that engage on Chromie if it ever does come into that, but also just because of the wave clear. But that would be double tank, and they would get poked. There is Azul we were talking about earlier, and now they also get Dahaka. And Dahaka can be a solid flanker against Chromie, but I feel like it's mitigated heavily by how small Tomb of the Spider Queen is. Naturally, you're going to be near your teammates, and Chromie should be protected.
I think that's kind of the linchpin, what they're banking on. It's like, Dahaka is going to have to come in the back and have to disrupt Chromie. That's going to be their answer to this Chromie. It's not going to be the Medivh, like we kind of pondered over to try and just negate some of the damage and maybe use portals to get on towards the back. It's going to be all about that Brush Stalker. So that's going to be exciting to watch.
Do you go Tychus here? Just to have a way to prevent the push from happening, Johanna and Dahaka. I could see double tank with Chromie and Sylvanas being the main damage. Chromie could eliminate somebody, but Malfurion, if he gets Tranquility and Ice Block, should be able to handle, for the most part, the book coming his way.
We're in that weird spot where I feel like this is Darkmock's choice. So yeah, Thrall will be the pickup. I was about to go down that path. Thanks very much, guys, for going a bit too fast. Yeah, so they're going to do their swaps. That's going to be Darkmock. He had an uncharacteristically difficult game on a Thrall that we did watch against Fnatic.
Yeah.
But I think here against Playing Ducks,
The Playing Ducks, the Playful Ducks. There's so many mess ups with that new name, man.
You with your Playful Ducks.
Yesterday I couldn't stop it.
Like, oh, little duck. Huh?
It's so cute. So now we have the Thrall in the bottom lane, so that can allow the team to just focus on the mid lane with Johanna and Zul to make wave clearing. They do have really good push. Playing Ducks. Obviously, they play with Chromie, with Chris being a Chromie, I would say main for the most part in his Hero League streaming adventures. But they understand how to break a Chromie down is you just push into her wave and make the opposing team deal with it. Now, there is a decent hold here with Misfits having Sylvanas available to them. But the early game should be in the hand of Playing Ducks. I also like them grabbing Johanna second. For a second there, I was like, maybe ETC would have been the great pickup. But we saw multiple times that Fnatic ran Johanna with Chromie because she gets good peel. She gets a great hold as well, and allows Chromie to also get up and use that reaching through time at 11. Because Johanna is so far forward that you have that vision that you're able to set up relatively well. So Playing Ducks has a really good counter to this. Can they hold against Misfits in this early Chromie pick?
Yeah, I think it all synergizes later on for Playing Ducks to actually like trying to get. Why am I saying flying all the time?
Because we fly together. That's
it's
like one of the sayings from that one movie that everyone knows about. Yeah, like the Playing Ducks. I see what you're saying. They have strong late game.
Yeah. It's, as I say, it's all going to be about the flanks, trying to get on towards that Chromie, because we saw how strong Fnatic was with the positioning of Chromie. Yeah. Clearly, Misfits have taken a step back, said, oh, wow, okay, this really is powerful. And answers need to be found for it. Whether it's the Dahaka or not in the hands of Playing Ducks, we shall find out.
We shall find out. Game number 1 between Misfits and the Playing Ducks is ready to go. So let's go ahead and move into it. Tomb of the Spider Queen will be the battleground. Keep an eye on that. Chromie player will be played by Nurok. I like the combination, by the way, the bear into the master skin. Oof. Nice skinnergy right there.
It's a good one. Blumby's going to be on Muradin, and then who else do we have? Darkmock playing that Thrall as to be expected. Hasselhoff's on the Sylvanas, and it will be, of course, the Nurok that you mentioned on that Chromie with Splendor on Rehgar.
And to the far right, Playing Ducks, they had an explosive day yesterday. Wolf Joe on the Malfurion, Chris Explosion on Johanna. Call out to Chris Explosion, by the way. We talked about Sport Billy a lot, but he played great yesterday. Sport Billy on Zul, Chris on Vala, and last but not least, Anande on the Dahaka.
All right, so we're going to be watching him a lot as well. The war will begin. But of course, Chromie is pretty much clairvoyant, so she can hopefully look into the future and predict where Dahaka is going to be coming from.
Okay, so floating around the middle, I want to see how they're going to hold their lanes here against the pressure of Johanna and Zul. It will be quite devastating. The deep breaths from Nurok will have to be on point in these clears, and also they can put it on the back line, which you just saw there from Nurok. You can W the back line, also kill the caster minion, and for the most part, you have a decent hold.
Now, one of the things that Shrimpy mentioned when he actually had an interview about the Chromie pick on this map was not only the fact that it controls top and mid quite well, turning points, etc. there, but also that Chromie provides great ganking potential down towards the bottom lane when that hero down there collects usually around 20 to 25 gems. So the thing is, though, is because it's a solo Dahaka, that might become a little bit more problematic. If you know that a Chromie is going to be going down there pre-level 8 without any kind of temporal loop even, sorry, then he could just burrow and negate a lot of the potential damage that's going to come from that combo.
Yeah, and with his latest buff where he can actually come out of burrow at whatever will you want.
Yes.
It used to be that you could wait it out, but not anymore. There's that slight misdirection that a Dahaka can throw your way. The rotations continue for our teams. Chrisplosion will start wave clearing the bottom side. And actually, for the most part, I thought I would see more aggressive positioning for Playing Ducks in terms of rotations. They're playing safe here, and they're trying to expose Chromie, make her push heavily a little bit, and they can get a flank maybe later on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for them to try and find any ground here Playing Ducks, while that Chromie's just going to be barraging with artillery on towards any location at all. I mean, one of the interesting thing is that Spotbilly has actually gone for Shade compared to Backlash, which has been the common go-to here in Europe, the Backlash I mean. So he's looking to just negate some of those auto attacks, and against Blonde's Talons, I can kind of see where he's going with that if he finds himself in some trouble.
That is true, that is true, but a catch here on the Murd in the back left, the Bone Prison being enough to help the team set up with Chris working in those auto attacks, and Playing Ducks will take first blood of the game.
Yeah, look at this, just constant interruption. This is just Chromie to its best. It's so hard to turn in at this top position where all of the rotations are going on, especially because they have the pushing power with Zul. They're going to be around here for quite a while. Chromie's free to just keep nuking and nuking.
And she will continue to do that as long as you're not moving your time traps too often. For the most part, you have the mana available to you.
Yeah,
So yeah, you'll see her consistently dropping out that nuking potential. Now, looking over to Zul, he has grabbed the wonderful talent to allow him to trade off in the middle here at 4, so he can keep up with his rotations, constantly having the mana available to him. And so, yes, this game will continue to go back and forth a tidbit here. I think that Misfits, for the most part, though, is in a good spot. I expected so much more aggression from the Playing Ducks, and it's very curious to see them playing much more passive when they have the Zul-Johanna composition on their side.
So halfway done with the level 1 talent there for Chromie currently. And what's interesting is actually you've gone for Mobius Loop at level 7. So it feels to me like Nurok realizes that there is so much push potential on the other side for Playing Ducks. Doesn't really want to fall behind that much. And this gives you a little bit more opportunity to actually have some wave clear with Chromie, because if you actually go for the Dragon's Eye, you just don't really have much wave clear at all as Chromie, right?
Yeah. The Dragon's Eye is mostly for blowing at the opposing hero. Also, they have to consider that there is 2 cleanses available, basically. With the Iron Skin on Johanna and the Malfurion having the cleanse, and then him having the Ice Block. There will be 3 tools to deal with the Temporal Loop.
That's true.
So they go for the potential to have more deep breaths instead of having the Dragon's Eye that's all in.
And we might see Shifting Sands.
That's true.
I hope we do, now that you bring that up. That'd be cool.
It would be. It's really strong for holding down chokes. If you get into the middle game, you've taken out a 4 or 2, Chromie can set up relatively well in the bottom right, around that choke, around the bush, around Knights and whatnot. And you also have insane disengage too because of that sand, or the sand. So be aware of that. Splendor in the middle is taking some damage. The root does not connect though, and Splendor will be able to retreat as rotations continue for both our teams. 57 gems in the hands of Misfits, 26 for Playing Ducks, but they look to be getting near a turn-in already.
I will say that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. The fact that they've actually done a great job of getting these gems turned in and grabbing themselves that first early Muradin kill. So nice to see that Playing Ducks are bringing the fight here to Misfits to start things off. As Nurok's just going to keep cleaning these waves up, and he's 3/4 of the way now done with his Time Walker's pursuit.
Playing Ducks ever so closely in that turn-in. It's one of the best things you can do. Again, we keep talking about it, but right now, we keep talking about Chromie, but Chromie is legitimately the entire note about this entire matchup right now.
Yes.
Because if you break down Chromie, you get the pushes going in, you break down the entire team. If Chromie is never in a position where she can get the seed potential that she wants to have, that team is effectively missing one member.
Completely agree.
Yeah, so Playing Ducks is going to be working on these turn-ins to get this pushing in. Their wave player is based on Sylvanas and Thrall, and that's it.
Sands, there we go. Sick. All right, this is going to be cool. So, for many people that might not play Chromie out there, what does shifting Sands do compared to the temporal loop? Well, you place it in a location, and as time goes on, or just a few seconds, it will increase the slow amount on an opponent. So you can see that Blumby instantly hitting a Storm Bolt on towards Sport Billy, because he just can't really move that quickly in that. You can see how slow the minions are. Makes it very easy for the wave player to be a thing here for Chromie.
Yeah, and the thing is, the longer they're in there, the slower they get. Up to 60% of their movement speed can be reduced, which is absolutely insane when you actually think about it. So, and that's AoE too. So if you catch 3 or 4 members running down a choke and you drop a Sandstorm, you will have easy pickings. Something to be aware of, and Playing Ducks will have to play around that positioning. Yeah. Playing Ducks do get a push in the middle pretty well. They get some damage on the turrets, but don't take them away, and so they don't get level 10 out of that. I feel like Misfits actually defended that well.
Yeah. Did I call it shifting sands before? It's slowing sands. This is an Agrabah. It's not like Aladdin's fallen in that cave and all of a sudden things are going wrong. No. So nice to see that Time Walker's Pursuit has been completed here for Chromie. So a little bit of extra power now behind every spell coming out.
Yep, 5% more, helping out in the damage on both her Deep Breath and her Q. So actually pretty nice, because a lot of her talents just buff either her Q or they buff her Deep Breath. And so now you get an advantage on both those abilities, which can be very handy when you're wanting that little more damage. The main reason why you pick Time Walker's Pursuit is because of the vision.
Oh,
and a pickup on Sylvanas as Chris goes for the full dive in the back line with the Strafe. Here comes the rotation, though, as Chromie sets up for the siege on Sports Billy, but the heals from Wolf Joe will keep him topped off for now.
Yeah, and the more I see Shade in this instance, the more I like it. You could see an auto attack come in there from Bronze Talons after even some damage went down on him, and Sport Billy soaked it up like a champion. So I really like the pick of Shade here in this instance.
Gotta agree. Nande, though, taking some pressure in the bottom right, but with the rotation of his teammates, Crisplosion showing up, Misfits are forced to pull away, and they're still hoarding some gems here. 63. An Earthquake is popped here, though, as Darkmoth is going for the engage on Sport Billy, but Nande comes in from behind and gets a tongue on Chromie, and Chromie will be extinguished.
Absolutely perfect by Nande. That's exactly what we wanted to see at the beginning of this game. That's Tranquility healing up Chris towards that backline. Thrall's gone down at the left-hand side. They've actually dropped quite a few gems there. Hatsuops is going to get out with a few of them. But Sport Billy, somehow, someway, is still alive in the back here. They've done a great job of Playing Ducks here, of actually being able to shut this down. Keep those gems guarded. Oh, this is brilliant for Playing Ducks.
What was that, 53?
Yes.
If I saw that correctly? A number of gems, because there was some dropped by Thrall and there was some dropped by the Chromie as well. So losing out on those gems is actually massive here for Misfits. They lose, I believe, 40 in total, because 20 were picked up. But again, huge drop-off here in the Misfits. That means they don't have 2 turn-ins anymore. They only have the 1 available to them with the gems they have on their purse.
All right, so at the moment we're seeing currently why picking Chromie early on in a draft can have its setbacks. As Playing Ducks are doing this very, very well currently. Nande in a little bit of trouble. He's already popped his adaptation though, so he should be fine to keep himself alive. Sylvanas has gone down. Misfits here are on the retreat. They need to run away or they will die.
Solid engage by Crisplosion there, getting the condemned. There's a kill on Sylvanas as well. And the Misfits looking like the underdog here as Playing Ducks get pick after pick after pick.
I just think they've underestimated their response. I think the Misfits gone into that draft picking Chromie this early. It's like, well, the responses out of Playing Ducks have been strong. Now at level 13 for Chromie, or 11 if you want to call it that, is timeout. So she kind of has a 7-second stasis, a 7-second ice block. So it's neither of the talents that we were disputing early on. And then I think it's a good choice. You want to stay in the fight somehow, some way, but you want to avoid getting caught out at the back by Dahaka or someone like that. So you buy time for your team to reinforce you, and then you get in a good spot.
Yeah, it's really good for stopping something that can come your way, like the Blessed Shield, or as you mentioned, the Nande coming in with the tongue to the engage. So Chromie can still position, but also call for the aid of her teammates if a global ability comes out from Dahaka and chases her down. So, yep, now has a tool available, mostly utility here, as Chromie will continue her poke life here with the Bronze Talons and her Deep Breath as she keeps working in. But Misfits are on the back foot right now, still have yet to get a turn in, and Playing Ducks are circling the boss in the top right with Nande in the middle pushing. He can show up at any point.
Absolutely. All right, so let's see how this is going to go down off towards the top. Vision has been granted to them by Chromie. Playing Ducks will just move away from the boss for the moment, look to clean things up. They just want 16. There's no reason for them to take any crazy risks, and Gloom's been picked up as well at that 13 by Valor, so she'll have a bit of an easier time surviving against Chromie.
Well, Misfits get their counterattack set up here. They finally do get a turn in, but the clear for Playing Ducks is phenomenal. Having Johanna here, having Zul here, they should be able to hold these web weavers relatively well without losing too much on their forts. It's all about positioning, as Misfits will be looking for an engage if they see anyone out of position. So Playing Ducks naturally group up and set up to clear these web weavers.
Misfits looking to get some push on towards that middle lane. You can see Sport Billy just waiting on the wings. Blumpy zoning him out for the moment. They want some big experience here to do Misfits. They want to try and catch up. As that 16 looms for Playing Ducks. Just poking and prodding here and there.
Yeah, possible ops turning off that forward, but with Chris stepping up, he is forced to pull away. Neurok's trying to land some skill shots here. This is where Chromie needs to hit her skill shots. It's okay to miss them here and there, but when you have a web weaver push occurring, you need to soften up the opposing team so you can be aggressive with the rest of your team members. And Neurok only hitting one of his Qs there, and a Bronze Talon really not helping out, as Playing Ducks has some sick jukes there.
Good escape now, and there is now Shifting Sands coming out at 16 for little Chromie. So all good. Extra little ability power on all of those Qs as you're able to hit them wherever you can.
With 16 being here for the Playing Ducks and enough gems for another turn in, they are just going to do for it. They go ahead and get their turn in. All of them are going to be dropped off for the payload, and they continue the push.
Yeah, now they can threaten keeps. So what is Misfits going to do to try and deal with that? Oh, they have to abandon it. Oh, that feels brutal, and that's even going to be a catch on Sylvanas as well. Really good by Playing Ducks. Really good. So Web Weaver and this, you know what? I would have even delayed this hard camp just a few seconds more. Wait until the Web Weaver catches up with you, and then you've got massive. I mean, it's still fine, the timing on it, but
no, I think I agree with you. You just killed Sylvanas. There's no way a 5v4 is going to break out. Just push it all together. Okay, so they have a Mercenary Camp push in the middle. They have Web Weavers in both the middle lane and the top lane already on the way, so they can rotate if they need to. Chromie in the back starts sieging away, but Playing Ducks are playing this nearly perfectly so far. There's the engage on Blumby. There goes the Bone Prison as well. Will get locked down. Chris is going to start working on that keep as well, working on those auto attacks. Blumby looking for something in the back, but not quite getting it here. Hasselhoff finally coming up to help with the clear, but will it be enough as the Playing Ducks are still sieging away?
yeah, very, very difficult for Misfits to kind of quell the tide there, as they will push them away, saving that keep for now. But Playing Ducks is not done just yet. I think at this point, I don't think they're getting that keep unless something really goes wrong here for Misfits. Ooh. They're going to try, though.
Skeletal Mage is being thrown down, not because they really want to start a fight, but because they want to buy more time on the keep here. Maybe a bit of a mistake.
Gotta be careful.
As Misfits do go for the engage. Tranquility is popped by Wolf Joe. Nande on the back right. Lumby does get picked here, but the Wailing Arrow immediately on him will stop that CC chain from happening. Sylvanas taking a hefty amount of damage. Hasuov will fall once again, but it's a 1-for-1 trade, and Misfits is now chasing.
Yeah, they got 16th. They got the talent tier coming in for them. I'm surprised that Playing Ducks stayed around too long. Darmok coming in. There was obviously going to be an earthquake there for them to try and pursue on and get some kills. An attempt at a wolf there, but Darmok has to move on away. Misfits, I don't think they can continue. Rhaegar's got very little mana left, and they will just back away from this fight for now.
Yeah, good call there. They don't really have a kill unless Thrall gets onto somebody, but Thrall was being zoned out well by Johanna. There's also the thought of shield glare, preventing him from getting those auto attacks in. Without Sylvanas there, you don't really have that AoE damage that he brings in when he drops those daggers on the opposing team. But a good start for the comeback here for the Misfits. They hit 16, they get some talents unlocked, and in terms of power levels, they're relatively close. They just have the threat of their keep being low on health there, about half the health in the middle lane.
And it's important to note here with the Chromie of Fanatics and the Chromie of Misfits here, these are two very different styles of Chromie. very, very different. I mean, you've played enough Chromie. You know the big differences between them.
Yeah, this one's more of a poke, throw a few things out, get people softened up, and then you hope that your Thrall can get an Earthquake, and then you go for the hard engage.
Yeah.
That's this type of style, whereas the Fnatic one was more of a burst type of style where you isolate targets, get a temporal loop, and then blow them up.
Because it's pick last.
Yeah.
Like towards the end when your opponent doesn't have good opportunities to react to it. So even if Misfits here wanted to play the Fnatic style of the Chromie, you just gotta wait until later in the draft.
Yep, it's all about Nurok opening up the opportunities for his team. If he doesn't open it up, the team is going to have a hard time landing these shots. Chris Explosion taking some poke from Chromie here, but the turn-in was the main goal for Misfits, and they do secure it. Nice pitching by Darkmox there, and Balumbi to zone out the Playing Ducks.
All right, so let's see what they're going to get done with this. They can probably take all forts with this push. Let's see. Yeah, the middle and bottom are pushed up quite nicely. And bottom's about to die anyway. So it's all about opening up the top lane for them, really, here for Misfits at the moment. Get as much experience as possible, try and catch up on that 20. Unless Playing Ducks looks for a fight and pushes them away from the walls, then I think that's probably the play for Playing Ducks, actually.
Yeah, they probably would, especially if they
Here
get
we go.
20 here. They have Storm Power. Yep, the immediate Volt in from Chris definitely indicates they want to go for the fight. The Storm Bolt hits Nande, but that opens up the wave clear here on the Web Weaver in the top right. And the fort in the middle was defended. The fort in the bottom can be defended as well if this Web Weaver doesn't get off this massive push. There's Sport ability to show up. Can he save the fort as well with the cleave?
Oh,
He does. And Playing Ducks, 17 minutes into the game, have not lost a fort.
That was so good by Playing Ducks. It's small things, but I said at the beginning of that, with that Web Weaver turn in, there's a good opportunity for Misfits to get every single fort. Playing Ducks cleared up the wave slightly. Dahaka was down there prepping bottom lane for a little while, and then they made sure that they were putting all their positions in the right spot and cleaned up everything without losing a fort. Lovely stuff by Playing Ducks. They've really stepped up this game.
Yeah, being the underdog, it doesn't even look like it if you look at this match. If you didn't know Misfits and Playing Ducks, you would assume that Playing Ducks is the higher skilled team right now, just because of how they are playing.
Yeah.
Now, Misfits did get passive Future Me on Chromie, which means that poke will be doubled on her Q, so that can be helpful for breaking down the opposing team if the opportunity allows. You see how they're chasing this Chromie? I love the aggression from the Playing Ducks. They chase her, so she's not able to set up and siege them backwards, which is so strong.
Yep.
They just know the weakness of Chromie here, and Playing Ducks are just exploiting it so well.
And the level 20s are actually Indestructible, Penetrating Bolt, Mortal Wound, Bolt of the Storm, and Essence Claws here on the side of Playing Ducks. So they've got a lot of power behind that. Again, we see Mortal Wounds a lot against those Ancestral heal builds, well, that come out from Regars. And if he lands that Scythe, it is going to be annoying here for Misfits.
Misfits still at full level behind their opponents. Playing Ducks setting up to push down the middle lane. Getting that keep would be a tasty reward right now. If Misfits holds on to all three keeps here, that's where they start getting their momentum in this game. So watch out for the pressure of the middle lane. Playing Ducks obviously would like to make the play here, where they, of course, start getting catapults on the battleground and start bleeding out their opponents.
I don't see many ways right now for Misfits back into this game. They've got to delay, but they're going to lose keeps here, guaranteed. And Chromie has to just, well, how did you describe it last night? Previously, pop off.
She has to pop off here. The two targets that you're aiming for if you're Chromie are going to be Wolf Joe and Chris. The thing is, okay, Blumby takes some damage. Ancestor Healing will go off, though, and keep Blumby alive, but that is a taken out keep on that top lane. Explosion continues to move forward now with the keep taken away. Playing Ducks thinks that they can be done for a while here. I want to note that Chris and Wolf Joe are the guys that Nurok is aiming for, but Nande and Chris Explosion are doing such a good job of positioning at a point where they take the damage if they were to connect with their assassin and the support, that Chris and Wolf Joe don't have to worry about anything. Just do what you do. Do damage and heal us, and we're good to go.
Yeah, so past and future me is the talent choice for Chromie, which is why we saw the little sand Chromie, which is always nice to see. So extra damage coming out from her, because she needs it right now, actually. Her build is very non-damage friendly, I suppose is the best way to look at it, as some will come in onto Sport Belly, but it didn't even do that much. They need to find some explosive potential here behind Misfits. They've got the level 20s, so that Earthquake with the Earthen Shield is going to make a big difference, I feel.
Yeah, they might get to a point where they can drop the Earthquake, and instead of just running away from the pressure that's coming from Playing Ducks, they can turn around and siege away, and they do here Chrisplosion and Nande here on the left. Nande has burrowed away, but there is the cleanse from Wolf Joe. The Skeletal Mage is stopped here to prevent Misfits from going for the chase. Continuous siege here on Wolf Joe, but Nurok just not connecting the shots.
All right, so yeah, I'm just going to have to move away for the moment here, as we'll see them trying to turn in. They need 70 gems to turn in. They've turned in a lot during all of this. And Misfits trying to rally back against it, as Blumby right at the front there gets a stun on towards Chris. And we're seeing that slowing sands use, slowing down for a moment there, but nothing to it. Nothing to it.
Blumby gets hit with the Bone Prison. Chrisplosion goes for the engage. I'm watching Chromie constantly here trying to keep repositioning. The Wailing Arrow does go off. Nande takes a little bit of damage, but go ahead and moves into the burrow. Blumby will get hit with the Bone Prison, but relatively tanky here. Will get the Ancestor healing, but the Immortal Wounds prevent that healing from occurring, and that's where Zool gets that full value on that level 20 talent. Nande on the flank on the left side.
Yeah, that was painful to watch, actually. Darkmark is going to have to move away there for a moment. Indestructible's been popped, but Thrall will end up going down. So now it's going to be a case of Splendor actually chased towards the bottom. Skeletal Mages just to make sure his retreat out was not successful. And there's just not the damage here for Misfits to break through that front line.
Playing Ducks move on the boss. Something to note is that Johanna's Indestructible has been popped. So Chromie could be strong in this position. So they need to be careful still. Oh, Chris low on HP, does get the heal at the last second.
And he doesn't have Indestructible. That was popped earlier, so he has to be very careful about those moves.
That he does. And it's funny because this is a 5v3. Any other composition, you would say, you know what? Go for the boss.
Yeah, let's go
we can
again.
control it here. But Chromie with her poke potential and how low Chrisplosion was there prevents that from occurring, especially with that Time Walker's Pursuit. She could set up the perfect shots to land a kill or two, and the next thing you know, there's an engage that occurs with Blumby jumping in. So Playing Ducks plays it safe. I think that is the correct choice, and they pull away.
All right, so now they're rivaling for it again. Blumby notices this, and the scouting drone notices Blumby. Hi, guys. So we're going to have the Brush Stalker straight on in here against Blumby. Misses his Stormbolt. Missed. Oh, he tried to jump there, but he was interrupted. And that could be a dead Blumby if he's not careful here. Penetrating bolts coming out from that strafe as well. Wailing Arrow on toward 3, but Blumby's going to end up falling. That's 1 for 0 at the moment.
There it is, yes, the Condemn stops him from jumping away, but Nurok is hitting his shots now, connecting here. Chris low on HP, there's the Tranquility to top everyone off for the Playing Ducks, but still, Darkmok is floating around on the right side here. With the aid of Nurok poking away, Playing Ducks still thinking about the idea of possibly going for the boss, but can you do it? I don't think so. Even with their main tank being down, it would be quite difficult. But the Playing Ducks begin.
Toying with it, definitely. The Nurok, you could see him putting the Slowing Sands just kind of south of where Chris was for the moment, and that gives the Misfits a really good opportunity to constantly poke and not really be punished. This position right here is really irritating for Playing Ducks to deal with on that Slowing Sands, but they're just going to do boss anyway.
They're going to do it. The poke comes out. The skill shots are not landing for Nurok, so Chris and Chrisplosion will work on it. Nande, low HP on the bottom right. He is taken out. Splendor goes for the charge. He moves in. He gets a bite on Chris. He's going to stand on top of it. Can Hasu up as well. He goes for the bolt. Chromie working in the attacks as well. There goes the Ice Block, though, from Wolf Joe. Dark Maul diving in as well, but it's not enough. Even with the time out, Chromie will be taken away, and Playing Ducks will get the boss.
A valiant effort there from Misfits to try and steal that away. They knew they had to send some of their squishy members onto that spot so they could try and challenge it. Blumby, well, yeah, that's not going to work. But it was a good effort. But look at this, Playing Ducks responding in the draft well and responding in the game well as well to the play that we see from Misfits.
And Blumby trying to delay this fight here as Ball is the main one that would do the DPS, but this boss is also welling away on the core. Blumby doing it whatever he can here. Wolf Joe is low on mana. There's a hardened shield, but there is still 16 seconds until we see a Rhaegar even on the field here to help out, and 20%, 10%, it is game over. Playing Ducks, surprisingly, comes out and will go 1-0 over the Misfits in this series.
And that was an interesting one.
That it was.
Because if you go all the way back to the beginning, all the way back to the draft,
it
makes me feel like they thought that maybe Chromie was going to get picked up by the Playing Ducks, and they would play it in a normal Chris way of, towards the end of a draft or something like that. So for them to lock it in that early on and play that style, if they'd have locked it in towards later of the draft, I think it does amazingly, and Playing Ducks don't have the right draft for it.
Yeah.
But it showed confidence from Misfits that seems quite unfounded that early on in the draft.
Yeah, it comes down to the counterattack that we saw from the Playing Ducks. I love their front line. The Zul pickup, the Johanna pickup really just made it work for them. And I love their teamwork and just keeping their squishies from ever getting poked down by the Chromie. Yeah. And the lack of skill shots hitting for Nurok just really hurt Misfits. But we'll find out more in game number 2. We'll be right back with HGC Europe.